What happens when we die? The spoiler alert for this video is I have no idea. that's the video. No, I'm joking. So there's theories and that's basically all we can really do is theorize, because even the people who say they've came, like who've died, who've come back and they've had visions, it's like, do we know if those were just, DMT releasing and dreams, or if it was really they were on the other side, whatever that may be. Is it possible? I guess I'll just go over like the theories. So, the basic heaven and hell theory, internal heaven and hell. The theory of time jumping. I think this is a relatively new one. Some people think that the world ended in 2012 and we time jumped into a different reality, and it ties in with the Mandela effect. Basically, you jump timelines to escape death in the current timeline that you were in. Not sure how, like if that's possible, and I'm open-minded to it. So reincarnation, when you pass away, you come back as a different version, something else, maybe and I kind of like this concept, honestly. How you live your life, if you're a decent person, well, it doesn't even have to deal with decent. It has to do with like lessons learned, I guess. If you learn your lessons, you'll probably come back and learn different lessons. And like, you get the atheist version where you just, that's it. You're done. It's like you're dead and that's it. There's nothing else after that. The theory of, I've heard this where, this is another new age thing where people say it's kind of like a reincarnation type of deal too as well. Like when you go to the light, you go towards the family, you might be coming toward like a reincarnation, but when you turn around, you see the whole universe and you just go out into the universe, and it's just like, I've heard different things that were basically all one. We're all the same. There's different blinders, and we're all one consciousness outside of our reality. A lot of this stuff sounds far-fetched, but it's honestly like we don't know. And that's where I'm at with, and that's why I try to keep an open mind with things, is because I don't know. And I think that it is really hard for something to be 100% certain. Now I can say, is this a microphone? Yes. I'm 100% certain that that's a microphone. We don't know if we came from a Big Bang. We don't know if God created us. We don't know. My beliefs, I definitely don't believe in the whole atheist. I think that's like the least. Well, it's down there. It might not be the least, but it's down there for the bottom for me. Because if I was basically an atheist and I'm not beholden to anything in an afterlife, I would just basically do whatever I wanted, because it doesn't matter anyway. Whatever I do here doesn't matter anyway. And I think that religion is very crucial to hold people to some type of moral stance. And what's curious is, like, when you talk to atheists, they always say, like, I was raised Christian. Like, it's very rare that I've heard. I mean, I'm sure it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but that they're like, I was raised by atheists. But it's just like, your morals come from somewhere. They evolve from something. I like personally think that Christianity is the best religion, because if I have something that maybe there's something I point out that they don't like, they might ostracize me, kick me out of the group, and that's fine. I'll just be by myself. But they're not gonna try to kill me like other religions. It doesn't. You just go to the desert. That's where the Muslim religion, like, they want to dominate. Are those people very peaceful? Yeah, mostly, but their book says that you need to convert to what they say, or you just look at how they treat Christians in their dominant Muslim countries, and you can kind of see how, and there's probably more progressives that are Muslims that won't. They'll kind of just like, we don't have to go that far, but it's just domination, and I don't like when people try to tell me how to think, what to do. You know what I mean? It's just conform, or you pay a high tax or we'll kill you. I think that's pretty evil. If you want to ostracize me because I don't believe I think that me personally, I look at the Bible. I've read it a little bit. I don't really like to read, but I listened to it multiple times. I've listened to the Torah. I've listened to the Quran. I've listened to the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Enoch. I've listened to the Bible a few times, honestly. And it's like, I think that there's some corruption in some of the writings, and I don't think that it's 100% authentic. So my big challenge is, why would God create me, and he knows my future, but I'm supposed to have free will, so how would he know my future? So that's kind of like, what? Okay, that's a contradiction right there. But if let's just say he knows my path, he knows everything. Okay, he, a spirit. Anyway, Jesus, you could say Jesus was a he, sure, but what is that? How is God he's like made in the image of God? But what is that? Like, why would God be a man? You know what I mean? It's like, why would God have sexual reproduction things? It would just be a force. It wouldn't be. And it kind of makes me think that that's how if I'm not saying God doesn't exist, I'm not saying the Christian God doesn't exist at all. The Muslim religion, I just think, is a complete ripoff of it's a reinterpretation of the Torah, basically. I don't think that the guy was a prophet, and if he was, I think that that wasn't a really good spirit that invoked him. But I don't think an all-loving God would send me to hell for eternity because I'm not submitting. So if I was God, this is what I would do. If this is I have all these different religions, all these different spin-offs, you know what I mean? It's so confusing down here. I would be pretty understanding, but if I was God, I had all power. I guess there's like a level where kids are fine. Like the whole thing was, if a kid dies young, like a 6-year-old or something like that, they don't understand. But when you get to a certain age, I guess, then it's like, okay, the whole concept of Christianity is you're cut off and you either follow me or you go to hell forever. Whatever age that is with God, and it could be different in each person, but it's like I would basically freeze time, come down with you, or even like I wouldn't even need to have time frozen. It would just be like I would take your consciousness out so you can see that I'm real. I would take you to hell. I would take you to heaven, and it would be like, this is the way. Follow me, or you're gonna go here. We are sitting here trying to like follow a book which a lot of different people wrote. Could have made mistakes. Could have interpreted things wrong. Back then as well, a lot of them had to basically, from my understanding, I could be wrong, they had to drink beer because the water wasn't good, so they had to like something to that extent. I heard that they messed around with mushrooms back then, so it's like we don't really know. And it's like mushrooms and peyote and stuff like that. Is that a new phenomenon that just popped up? No, that's probably been around a long time. So when you put those factors in, and it's like telling me that God created me, I'm his child, I'm one of his children, we're all his children, and if I like question anything at all, because like I said, you and people feel different things. I've never really felt God. I feel like different, like it could be something that I'm creating myself, you know what I mean? Some type of feeling myself. And that's what people could be feeling, like this connection. And there could be something, because we're like with energy, you know, like there's a connectedness with, and it could just be like a collective energy that we're feeling. Makes me wonder, like, you know, when AI takes all of our jobs, if, you know, we still have a huge population, who knows what's going to happen? We're going to have a huge unrest or whatever. And a lot of people, you know, there's going to be a backlash because there's no food. I don't know, for the transition to the utopia. If we was to like, and we have the time and we can like all meditate, basically all like adults can just meditate at the same time, what would that create? The vibration that it would create. I definitely believe there's different energies. I believe in negative energy, and I think that there's positive energy. And I think that we have that in all of us. Sometimes we have to use our negative energy for survival, you know. You know, people have done it in the past, like, you know, they turned to cannibalism. It's that it's not that they wanted to, it's because they've basically, there was nothing else and they had to. So it's like a dark energy, but there's positive energy and there's dark energy. So I definitely think that there's something. That's why I don't believe in the whole atheist thing. And I think it could be a mix of things, you know. I just don't think that when we die, that's it. I think we move on to something else. Whether we come back here in a different life, it might be like you come back as a plant, I guess, or an animal, or another human. You know, you might come back, you might be a man right now and you come back as a woman. And then, like, depending on how you lived your life, or what lessons you learned, basically. If you didn't learn lessons, you come back until, like, you don't have to learn any more lessons, and then just go off and completely free. I think that, like, if there is, and then I don't blow off the concept of Christianity at all. I think is quite possible, where there is a hell you go to possibly. But I think that like a loving God would give redemption. It's not just. It just seems like, how can God be perfect, right? If there's ego. So if you're all powerful, all understanding, you would understand that I'm confused. Not intentionally. It's just like, dude, it's just confusing. It's not like there's Christianity and then like Satanism or like a bad evil religion and I have to pick one. Like if I pick the light of God and I try to go down the righteous path, but it's way harder, but it's easier if I go down, you know what I mean? But there's so many different, that's why it's so confusing, so I wouldn't, if I was all powerful, I wouldn't allow that. If I'm not going to intervene, like I said, we don't know where we came from. We don't remember anything. We're given a book and told that this figure, Jesus, died 2,000 years ago. Which I'm not saying he didn't exist. Some people said that he didn't exist. He was a rip-off of like the sun gods and Horus and stuff like that, which is quite possible. There's a lot of like people have connected a lot of dots where, they say, born on the 25th of December or something like that, son of a virgin, like, and you see this throughout mythology, I guess that's what we call it, mythology. But me personally, I just don't think that I think that if I was to die right now and God's like, you didn't do enough to serve me, you didn't do enough to accept me, and I accept Jesus, like I accept you as my savior, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm gonna pick that over obviously, like, I don't care about instant gratification stuff. Like I need to be rich and bang all these women or whatever. I'm fine. Like I accept, but is that not good enough? Yeah, and what if I was to live my life 100% righteous, following Jesus, and then like something happened, and in order for me to survive I had to do something a little bit shady, and then I died, and it's just like I go to hell forever. But like this person, let's just say this other person who has been evil their whole life, doing the worst things, murdering and hurting children in perverse ways, all of a sudden at the end of their life they're like, I accept you as my savior. And not just saying it, but like they actually felt that, like they go to heaven forever and then I go to hell forever. Like I just don't think that that's how it works. I just think that's just too, given the way how mysterious this world is, it's just too like simple. You know what I mean? It's just, there's no nuance in it. There's so much gray in between in this life to just like, this way, and that's it. No, it's like, I would think that if this is how it happens and I go see God, whatever God that is, one more thing before I put it up. Another one is the simulation theory, which I do, I like that theory. I like, whenever I die in this life, I wake up like 3,000 years from now and like I was playing a video game. That's a possibility as well. I just want to get that on the video so I didn't forget it. But I would think that God would be like, okay, I'm judging you. It's not just like, oh, you accepted me, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, it's like, okay, you're going to go to hell for a while, and then we're going to give you a really harsh life. And, maybe I don't remember anything, of course, like, because none of us remember anything. If there is reincarnation. And then something like I can redeem myself. If I was all loving, I would want every single one of my children to be able to redeem themselves in some way, not just like if like the prodigal son, or basically in the Bible, if one of my children basically spit in my face and then walked out of my life, and then came back later on, I would be skeptical of them. But I'm not gonna be like maybe they did, maybe I'm gonna hear them out, I'm gonna see if they can redeem themselves. I believe in forgiveness, a chance of forgiveness, and this life is so chaotic. Anything can happen at any time. I can die right now. I could have a brain aneurysm. I could have a satellite fall on me. I could have an airplane fall on me right now. Anytime it could happen, and it's just so unpredictable. And I just think that we're not given enough information. I don't think that we're given correct information. It seems like with religion to me, which I'm not against religion. I think that most people definitely need religion. I kind of am envious in some ways. I kind of wish I could just blindly follow, so I didn't have to think too much. But it controls people. It's meant to control people. And there have been reformations, and I think Catholicism believes in some type of purgatory, or they did at some point. And then you can see all the different spin-offs of Christianity, so it's and it's weird to see how they're usually all cool with each other. I don't even know what they really Presbyterian. I don't even know what it really means. Baptists, and it's what they basically have the same beliefs of Jesus being the Savior. But they have different. I don't know. It's Catholics, and then you have the Mormons, and it's they're completely rejected. And it's they almost looked at like the Muslim religion, and it's I don't know. I just think there would be one uniformed Christianity religion where there's no spin-offs. It's just one structure. If it is heaven and hell, that's what I am talking about. And I could be wrong. There could be a heaven and hell. I don't know. I think that would be pretty messed up. If you're a decent person, and it's just because I'm confused, because I'm imperfect. I'm an imperfect person. And I, don't go down the right path, and I just go to hell for it's just eternity, just suffering. That's pretty harsh. Forever, man. If that is true, then I guess I'm definitely going there for sure. If that's true, not to say that I wouldn't. If God showed himself to me, you know what I mean? If it's not just a physical thing, it's a feeling too. But if I was to see yes, this is real, man. Heaven is I have to rely on a book. I have to rely on other humans telling me this, who use control. Back in the day, information like this that we have, most people didn't have information, and they couldn't read the Bible, so they had to go to church and have it given to them, so it feels like state, and it's used as a control. If you look at Hitler and his was a memoir type of deal. His book, My Struggle, Mein Kampf, even he talked about like how he talked about propaganda, but he also talked about like the need for religion, and like I'm not gonna try to quote it or anything like that, and I might not be remembering it all the way, but it made it sound like it's a way to control people. You know what I mean? You have to control the masses some way, or it's just like you have to have more than just laws to control people. Especially like if they're really getting the short end of the stick, you know. If you don't have some type of like, oh, when you pass away, yeah, like, so like I don't like when I pass away, I don't want to die a slow, painful death. I want to be as quick as possible. And like I don't want to burn in hell forever. And I don't even know if that would be the worst. I think the worst would probably be living forever and the sun burns out and there's nobody else you can talk to. You know, so you're just floating on these dead planets and you have to live forever. It's completely dark. That sounds really terrifying to me, and that could happen. You know, these people that want to live forever. I wouldn't mind living a couple extra 100 years or something like that for a little bit more observation and different experiences as well. But like, I really don't want to live forever. I wouldn't mind my consciousness being in something else, as long as like there's other people I can interact with or something, like I could feel. I don't know if I would feel anything, but yeah, I definitely think that there's something else that happens when we pass away. I just do. There's just too many unknowns, and also like, if this isn't trying to dissuade anybody who's Christian to not be Christian, and I just like don't think a loving God, and God was if you read the Old Testament, honestly, he sounded like a tyrant. So it's quite possible that that's what happens, that you go to heaven or hell because the ego, like he tried to get people to kill their kids for him. See, and then no, don't do it. He genocided people multiple times. And it could be very well possible. I mean, honestly, I don't see how the Old Testament God is a perfect God. I don't think so. The way that they write about him, I don't see how you can be an all-loving God, all-knowing God, and then just be that tyrannical. If you're an all-knowing God, you already know the simulation before you create it, so you can't have free will. So if I already know how the simulation is gonna play out, why would I create it? You know what I mean? And that's what we basically kind of are. We're a biological simulation in some aspect, even if you think about it like in God's way. So put yourself in that position. You know, you created us to see how we would react, but then you don't really know everything. So there's some contradictions, because if you wanted to see how people would react and how they would evolve, you know, the first thing in the Bible is the Adam and Eve story, and then like we're all fallen into a fallen world now. Put the temptation there. You got Lucifer trying to tempt what's her name, Eve, into having the forbidden fruit off of the forbidden tree, and she does, and she coates Adam to do it. And now they're fallen. So like that possibly was a simulation to see it. Obviously, I'm gonna put this here and see what they do. You know. So it could be some type of like that's kind of like a simulation. But it's for me. I don't understand how you can be all knowing and know the future and everything, and then like give us free will at the same time. So you don't know how we're gonna act. You don't know what we're gonna do. So you're not all knowing. So like there's some inconsistencies in the writings, I think, and then it is what it is. Somebody will come on here and be like, boo, 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 boo. This somebody that knows way more than I do because they're way more in depth about it. I think I have a general understanding. I probably understand Christianity better than a lot of Christians. I'm not saying that I'm like an expert or anything like that, but you know, you see inconsistencies like that. So like the whole thing of like you go to heaven or hell, like that just seems so barbaric, and it seems like ego driven. And it's kind of seems unfair, to be honest, like the way everything's set up. You know, here's a book and you see all this corruption. You see corruption in the government. You see corruption in the church. You see these people that are priests and pastors and they're living it up. You're supposed to live like Jesus. Why is Joel Osteen having like this mega church and he's got this huge mansion? Isn't your reward supposed to be in heaven? Like I could understand living like that if everybody was living like that. You know, if that was like the lowest standard was living in a mansion, sure. Complete abundance. But when we have people starving in this planet, it just seems like so off. And why would God allow that? You know, why would God allow somebody like that to influence? And just like really not intervene at all. There's no more prophets. There's nothing like that. There's no more Jesuses coming. I would have a Jesus coming and straighten us all out. There's nothing like that. So it almost feels like this is what it almost feels like is it was a simulation created and just kind of forgotten about, you know. Maybe the kind of got it just like, I don't know, you know. The last thing was Jesus, his son dying, and maybe that was it. Maybe after that, because it seems like cold after that, I'd be like, there's nothing that happened after that besides the disciples creating the Bible or the Christian added in the New Testament. But there wasn't anything, there hasn't been anything going on biblically. Like all this happened 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. And then basically Christian belief is like, we're only 6,000 years. This earth has been created 6,000 years ago, but we have fossils and science that proves that this earth has been in existence for billions of years. Well, the perception is I look at things like it might not be true. It might not be 100% true. I don't know. But the general consensus is that this earth has been around and the solar system been around for billions, 3 billion, 13 billion years or something like that. That's what they estimate. So and here's another thing that I give out there too, something I think, and this is one of the most likely for me, is like, when I look at all the intelligent life on here, and we are like head and shoulders above everything. When you look at animals, they have the basic like NPC, like there's some that are a little bit more intelligent than others, but it's not head and shoulders like we are. So when you look at our brains, it feels like there's like layers of our brains, and it seems like we were manipulated somehow in the past, whether it's by aliens, or whatever. So what I think is most likely, maybe something to do with like a reincarnation. And I do think that there's a creator or creators, and it doesn't mean that the creator of the simulation is smarter than us as well. I do believe that too. I think that, because the reason why I think that is because we're creating something that's smarter than us, AI. And it is quite possible that something like that happened, where they were smart enough to create something, but it outsmarted them, and it kind of helped create us, and they kind of sit back like they're watching a TV show if they're watching us, and they're entertained by us for some reason, like how boring our lives are, how monotonous our lives are, like how we like movies, and some people like to read books or storytelling, but they like to watch everything we do in our lives, and it's not boring at all. And that's like, and the time might be so much different. So billions of years could pass for us, but it might only be like 2 hours for them. So like we don't understand. Sorry, I can't answer a definitive. I don't know. That's all I can say is there's different possibilities. To me, the most unlikely would be the atheist. But it could be it could be. So I always say, like, if you don't believe in any type of spiritual or energy like that, then I guess go into a haunted house and see if it affects you. That's why I'm like, I think that there's something else. I think there's something else that happens when we pass on. So I don't know what that is. I don't know. Sorry if it doesn't answer your question. It's just too hard. I like the idea of the simulation type of thing, or like that's kind of fun. The time jump thing is kind of fun too, but I would have to say my biggest belief would be some type of reincarnation, and then until we get to some type of enlightenment, I guess, and we can just like join. Maybe we're all like an individual, and then when we get enlightened, we join the whole source and become a part of it, and then we're all whole. Maybe that's what this is all. But maybe we're just. This is it, It's so much more. There's just so many unknowns in this that we just don't know for sure. But yeah.